He's louder than I am, it's helpful. Before we get started today, just a couple things. 2025, Happy New Year, but we have a new training packet. Everybody should have these in your mailbox, but if you don't, you want another one, there's some at your table, or I have extra down here. Just a couple things I really wanted to point out that are new for the year. The first is we have a coffee and conversation starting this month, led by Tina and Becky for this month. It's every month it'll change from different agent leaders and different people who are helping out. That first one is on January 22nd from 9 to 10. It'll be right down here. Then the second one that is different for the year is we're doing Bold Show workshops every month. The first one is going to be with Mercedes and I on January 16th from 9 to 10. We're going to be helping you guys get your database in if you need help with that, and then talking about scheduling mass emails to all your clients depending on if that's something you're interested in. We will also be down here to help and guide you through that. So I'll have both of these if you guys want to hear a little bit more. The Coffee and Conversation is on, they're doing apps, systems, lead generation tools, social media, and working your sphere. That's what Becky and Tina are working on. And then I'm going to pass it over to these two lovely ladies. If you guys have not heard Dawn yet, she is with the Floyd Bethune program, but she's also with her own coaching and has been really closely connected with us now for 3 years? 3 years, time flies.
You guys are family.
Yes, yes. And then she's working today with Dion, who is our DR here in Brookfield and one of our many amazing agents. So I'll get it to you guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Put it to them again. Good. We'll put them up. We'll use them as shoes. All right.
Well, great morning, great morning, great morning. Happy New Year. Are we still saying that?
Yeah.
Happy New Year, right? Listen, I have a question for you guys. I want to know what are some of the affirmations that you made for your business this year? What are some of the things you said?
It's gonna be a good year.
Oh, I love it. What about you, Aaron?
Oh, I don't really have sayings.
No? Okay.
And
Seem like a fly by the night, but that's okay. Anybody else? We're not going to talk at you guys. We've been being talked at for like, I don't know, the last couple of years. I don't want to be talked at. I want to talk with you guys and have a conversation. Dana.
And you can call me whatever you want. I wake up every day and say it's a great day to be a realtor.
Yes, I love that. I love that. Anybody else? Yes.
I'm gonna thrive in 2025.
Love it. Yes, absolutely. Yes. Anyone else? What are some of the other affirmations? I know that you guys are not just waking up every day like, I'm just here. Just going.
Well, today was, I'm gonna go learn something.
I love that. I'm gonna go learn something. So one of my affirmations is, I'm gonna be very intentional about the growth of my business. That's what I say every day. I'm gonna be very intentional about the growth in my business. And so now let me ask this question. 2024. Whew, what a year, right? What a year. Have any of you have you closed the door, the chapter on 2024? Have you done that? You're not bringing any baggage with you into 2025? No? Nobody's bringing any baggage? Amen. You know what? Because, and I want you to use this as a tool though, because something is going to happen in 2025 that may make you almost want to go back to feeling like 2024, right? But I want to share something with you. I had a meeting with Dale, and we were talking about some things because 2024 was just a year of just a lot of change, right? And we were talking, and he says, hey, he said, you're an avid reader, right, Dion? I'm like, yes, I am. I love reading. He says, you know, when you're reading a really good book and you get to a certain chapter, say chapter 5, do you go back to chapter 3? I'm like, no, I plowed to the end because I want to get to the finish line. I want to see what happened, right? He said, exactly. Let's close the chapter on all of this other stuff that happened, and let's write our story for the rest of this year and going on. So I want you guys to remember that, because that helped me immensely to be able to forge into 2025 with just a commitment and a focus on growth in my business. So now I'd like to turn it over to Dawn, my speaker today, for what do we call ourselves?
You're just fantastic. And we are thrilled to be with you. Dion and I didn't get together last night and go, so what do you think we should talk about? Right, we've been working on this and thinking about you, even if I don't know you yet. I've been thinking about you prior to this. There's a plan, there was a vision, and we are collaborating to collaborate with you. The only reason we are here today, because could you all have been doing something else this morning? Go ahead, it's all right.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, me too. Right? So there's a real reason we're here. We are here to make sure that however you're feeling about your business and your life at this moment in time, that we get some things cleared up. And we go, we got what, 30 or so people in the room. There's no way every single one of you is feeling really optimistic about the year ahead. Some of you might be in the, oh please, oh please, oh please, don't let it suck. Right? It doesn't matter where you started before this minute today. It could be from, oh please, to, I've got this. We want to bring up your confidence in what you're able to create for yourself, because you are the biggest contributing factor to your outcome. Can I get a uh-huh? Oh, now let's do it again. Yeah, I will call you out, right? This is a conversation. It just so happens Dion and I are going to do most of the talking, but you're going to be in it because it's for you. Yes. We're here today to make sure you not only have the rekindling of your fire of belief, but we're going to give you tools, actionable items you can employ today and in the days to follow to secure that you will achieve your goals. Sound like a good idea? Glad you're here? Good, we're gonna make you really happy. Last year, we met, I think on January 3rd, and we had a rousing time. And we used these cute little things, vision cards. Everybody's got one. Now, before you write anything on your little blue card, note that there's two sides. We're gonna use one half at the beginning and one half at the end. And when we use it at the end, you've got a protective holder. Now I have to tell you, these were not easy to open. My husband and I wedged our way into all of these so you would not break nails today. And then you've got a place where you can attach it, or you carry it with you, right? You want to keep this. This is a vision card. And give me a big old bobblehead if you have heard, start with the end in mind. Okay? This isn't new news.
Yes.
Start with the end in mind. So let's pretend. It's December 28th of 2025. An entire year has passed. You are somewhere between the holidays, and it's that time where you're considering all the good you have lived in 2025. It's also when you start to think, what else do I want in 2026? You guys might be thinking, I just got to January 8th, man, I'm still having trouble signing things with 2025, and you're moving me ahead 12 months? Yes, because we're starting with the end in mind. You all have some form of paper in front of you. Hopefully you brought your own and you brought a pen, because you should show up expecting value, right? You can use the blue sheet, you can use whatever's in front of you, you can use your notebook. But right now, write down your business goal for 2025. And it doesn't matter what it is compared to anybody else's. And if you haven't actually set a solid goal yet, write something to start with. Write something to start with.
Anybody needs a pen, just raise your hand.
I love that you're there to support that.
Rock
They all have one.
Yeah, everybody's ready, right?
I know you can do your contracts on a computer, but boy, you should always have a pen. You write contracts, man. All right, so your business goal for 2025, it's your goal, which makes it right. Anybody else's goal is right for them. This is not a comparison despair kind of thing. That's waste of time. Your goal for yourself. So, show of hands, how many put down the amount of money you're gonna earn? How many put down the amount you're going to have for a production total? How many put down how many closings you're going to have? How many put down all three? I want you to get all three. You need to be able to see your goal multiple ways. So if you put an income goal, you want to look at what you think your average income is per closing, and do some quick math, because then you'll know how many closings. Or if you had a production goal, you want to look at your average sales price and do some quick math, because then you'll know how many closings. Are we tracking? And if you haven't done a deep dive on this yet, it's not too late. When would now be a good time for clarity? Right? When would now be a good time for clarity? And whatever you put down today, if you need to adjust it because you do a deeper dive in the next days, fantastic. Do the deeper dive. But don't leave your card blank today. I promise I've got spare little blue cards if you need one to fix later. Will you promise me you're gonna write something today? Who in the room is fewer than 8 months in business? Yeah, 3.
What about all three of you?
You might have an idea, I don't know. It's okay. You've got people to support you in putting those answers together. Right now, write down your bold goal. You might as well go big, right? Okay, so go ahead and on the front, whichever side that is, of your little blue card, write your business goal for 2025. This is what you're gonna celebrate at the end of the year. And you also, later you can add other things on here like, and I'm gonna have my new house, or my baby will have arrived, or I will have bought a boat, or anything in your life. But today we're starting with your business goals, yes? Great. Any questions on this part? I want you to be as specific as you can because what happens in vagueness stays in vagueness. Clarity has magnetic power and fuel. This is what you want. This is where we shift to mindset to make that goal realized.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you guys are writing your goals, right? So what kind of mindset do you need in order to hit your goals? You must have a growth mindset, right? Always moving. When I say growth, what do you guys think about when I say growth? Anybody want to share? When someone says growth to you, what does that mean to you?
Whether it's personal or business.
Either or.
I would say personally how I would grow balancing work and personal business, and then also growth for me would be my team and being supportive to them.
I love that, and that's movement. And it's not all about, a lot of times it's not about numbers. A lot of times growth is in intangible things too, right? Mary Edwards. When I had to do it.
Harry, your face is right.
Mary, when someone says growth to you, what does that mean for you? When you hear the word growth, yeah?
Development
Mm-hmm.
is the first that comes to
Personal,
mind.
professional, yes? Okay. Okay, good, yes.
I feel like if I tell myself I'm gonna really grow this year, I'm gonna have some hard times, and you might have a little bit of failure, but you're only gonna grow even more
I
from that.
love that. That's that mindset. Yes, I love that. And we have to have that kind of mindset, yes.
Mindset, you just said, it starts with that, but I think beyond that, then it's setting daily and weekly and monthly behaviors
Yes.
to hit the actual goal. I think it's so easy to always look at the big shiny goal, and then a half year goes by and we've lost it. But it's all the little things compounded and stacked up that are going to guarantee success.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that leads me right into this. So when I think about the growth mindset, right, I think about personal development, right? I often ask myself, I always start the year out, I read a few, just like 2 or 3 books that I try to read every time, at the end of every year. The Richest Man in Babylon, and Top 10 Distinctions Between Millionaires and the Middle Class, right? So those are the 2 I absolutely read. So I'm gonna ask you, what are you reading? What are you reading? Because personal and professional development is critical in you to make sure that you continue to have that growth mindset and keep going forward. I was talking to Adam and I was talking to him about his why. Like he has a desire to travel more, right? And really be on vacation when he's traveling, right? So I was talking to him like, well, Adam, then you're gonna have to push it. That why's gotta be a lot bigger, right? It's gotta be bigger so that it'll force you to give things away so that you get that life that you so design. But I only think like that because of my mindset, because of what I pour inside, right? I listen to a lot of positive things. I read all the time. So I'm gonna challenge you guys to read. Our brokerage is a reading brokerage, right? Dale often gives us the opportunity to send us a lot of books that really can inspire us to grow. Ideal Team Player is one of my favorites. So just continue to pour into yourself in that manner. Professional development as well. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Right here, right? We have to have a growth strategy, and one of mine is personal development. I have it in my calendar. I am going to listen to a podcast. I am going to read. I am going to go to an event to get inside of a room with like-minded people. The worst thing you can do as an entrepreneur, right? Because we're not self-employed, right? We're entrepreneurs. The worst thing you can do as an entrepreneur is go on an island all by yourself. That's the absolute worst thing you can do. And as dynamic as our industry is, and we really saw how dynamic it was last year, you have to be connected to like-minded, growth-minded individuals who are going to stay positive in spite of. Also, I wanted to talk about being conscious. Again, going back to being very conscious of what you're putting in, what you're reading, what you're thinking. So when we sit down with our sellers, right, a lot of times they come with a lot of emotional stuff. You always hear this joke like, oh, I'm a therapist today, I'm an interior designer, I'm the accountant, I'm this, I'm that, right? Imagine if you were a cup, right, this cup, and you're just watching TV, listening to the news, I don't know, just doing whatever. And you sit down with a seller who really needs you, to hear them, because they have this challenge, this transition in their life that they're getting ready to make, because that's getting ready to happen. Because we know that most of the homes, the resale homes, right, are being held by baby boomers right now, right? And what are they doing? They're aging out. We're either gonna be talking to them or their children at a time. It might not be so good, right? It might be a challenging time. So what if we show up like this? There's nothing in here. Nothing in your cup, nothing to share, nothing to give, nothing positive. Or what if, like I almost became victim to 2024, all of the news about how we're gonna be, not be able to make a living in our amazing industry, just all of the chatter, there was just a lot going on. Do you guys think that's going to stop in 2025? No, right? It's not going to stop, right? But we have to be prepared. But imagine if you sit down with a seller who's been hearing all that stuff on the news, you've been hearing it too, you've ingested it, that's all you listen to, and you sit down with them and they tell you about their problem, right? And then this is what you have to pour out. Garbage, right? No, we cannot do that. We cannot do that. We owe it to our sellers, we owe it to our profession, our colleagues. What if Lakeisha came to me and had a problem or a situation, and I had a limiting belief about how amazing our industry is? Would I be any help to her, right? Would I be any help to that seller whose mom just passed away and now they have to sell the house? And I come and I'm like, I don't even know if this industry is gonna be around. right? You have to do it yourself. What the heck, I don't know. Don't pay me, I don't know, right? But what if I had my cup full and I was being personally developed, and I was coming to company events, and I had accountability partners like Melissa and Mary, Lakeisha, Dana, Gina, Dale, right? My cup would be full, and I would be able to just give them the goal, right? That is what's so very important about having a growth mindset and having a strategy to go along with that. So I wanted to share that with you guys to make sure that we are always protecting our ear gates and making sure that we are the light in the room. Yes, dear.
Yeah, that is so good, and I love the visual. So there's two things that come to my mind and my heart. Because you have to have some boundaries, but you also have to have a response. So let's say within the inner circle of our industry and the noise from other agents, and they're, whining, complaining, whatever, how do you address that and handle that without letting that maybe infiltrate and even infect you?
Okay, so first off, I try to portray the persona of, like, don't bring that, like, I'm happy, I love what I do, I'm positive, so you're not gonna look at me and think, I'm gonna go talk all this stuff to her, and she's gonna that probably won't happen. But I will be bold enough if someone does, I'll say, you know what, I think everything is amazing. Dana and I have conversations all the time about what we're hearing about the market. What's going to be happening, what's happening on the national, regional level. And every time we talk about it, even though it's crafted as like bad news, we find the silver lining to have that conversation. We turn it around. I don't think I've had a conversation with her yet of doom and gloom, even when I was challenged with the market, right? So just making sure, you turn it around. Say, you know what? It's going to be an amazing year. I'm super excited about it. And you take care and take charge and go on about your way. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
You have to believe that. When people come to you, remember Mary, I'm not picking on you. But
Yes, you are.
When Mary and I, and this is an example, when Mary and I, we were going through the market crash, right? And I had experienced.
You mean in 1978,
No,
1982,
2008,
1986?
2008.
Which one?
We're not that old now. We're not that old.
Which one?
2008.
Oh,
That one. Mary and I, and it's so important, that's why I said as an entrepreneur, you really don't want to be on an island by yourself. I don't believe I could have navigated that time in my career or in my business had I not had the relationships that I had. We held on to each other.
Yeah.
We pushed each other. We talked positive. That was the other thing. We talked positive about the outcome, about the industry, and about what we were looking for.
So the
Yes.
second part of that, thank you. The
You're welcome.
second part of that is, you mentioned the word challenge. And I think we forget the reason we have jobs and get paid is because we're problem solvers or challenge solvers, or we are the experts to guide people through challenges.
Yes.
And if we don't embrace challenges and say, I am glad we have another one, I think we're not very wise. That is what drives people to us. And that should be where we rise. So I guess I know I got this part about constant learning, reading, that kind of thing, specifically related to the current challenges. What would be some advice for, everyone in this room, like, hey, here's maybe a source of good information. You already talked about, like, get together, talking, like-minded people, encouraging each other. Is there a place where we can get some truth? Like, the bottom line, you just said, there's somebody that needs to sell a house, and they need my guidance. That's always gonna be the case, right? And none of the challenges interfere with that, it actually complements that. So, there's a lot of noise out there, and you've told me multiple times, like, don't listen to the noise. So what is the music that's not the noise that we wanna focus in on right now?
I think you wanna focus in skill building. That's so very important. I think the more confident you are in your profession, in your ability to communicate your value, communicate what's happening in the industry and how you're navigating it, I think that's where it's critical. And that's why I think it's so important that you show up for your company events and that you make sure that you're reading our contracts as well. I still read the offer of purchase, addendum A, listing contract. I still sit down, I try at least once a week to try to just read through it like it's a novel, because we have to be the experts when we sit down at the table. Because we know it's so much information, so much has changed in the last 24 years of how much information people get. And we just have to be, I take this from Brian Buffini, he says the lighthouse in the storm, right? Just very steady and very, very confident. But I use the word posture. Your posture has to be there. So when someone asks you a question or a seller asks you about commission and trying to understand how, how does the buyer's agent get paid? How much are you really getting paid? You just have to have the posture to be able to walk through that answer with them. And here's what I like to do, and this is old school, but again, looking at the people who are gonna be selling, right? A lot of them are old school. Writing it down, just having a piece of paper. I think the worst thing we could do is go in with a flip chart and a computer and all that stuff. They're gonna be like, what? With ChatGPT, you can type in whatever answer, but if you write it down, they feel like they see it coming from your brain to the paper, if that makes sense. So that's just something I would definitely suggest going forward. So now, here's Dawn and I were talking about this as we were preparing for this session. We were talking about your decisions, your daily decisions, right? They determine what your experience is gonna be for that day, right? So we wanna really challenge you to be very conscious of your daily decisions and how you're gonna respond to certain things, because it's a lot more coming, trust me. But one of those decisions is definitely gonna be how you use your time, how you manage your time. Mary Edwards and I, Gina, we were talking, Melissa, we often talked about time balance, right? I don't believe that there is a such thing called balance. I don't believe it. I believe you prioritize what's important to you, right? Case in point. For me, for instance, when I started this business 24 years ago, I planned my life around my business, right? Hustle, grind, right? I missed so much stuff, guys. I look back and I'm like, OMG. And people were still making decisions based on what was a priority for them in their lives. They didn't care about me. And Mary's shaking her head. Melissa, you can shake your, Keisha, Gina, you too, right? We know, they don't care. We make all these sacrifices thinking it's for the good of them, when in fact, what's most important to us, right, is the ones that suffer. So what I did as I've grown in my business is I use a system. I use a calendar, and Dawn's gonna talk to us about that system. But I'm so proud that now I have a non-negotiable of picking up my granddaughter from school. I don't care what's going on. What? I'm picking her up. Why? Because that's my time with her. That's important to her. But it's very, very, very important to me. Very important to me. I was talking to Gina about this. She was talking about how she picks up her phone. And we were talking about where she's come to now since we met was it last year? I think it was last year. At the regional convention. And we were talking about that, and she was like, well, I haven't gotten a set schedule when I'm not on my phone. And she said, but I don't pick it up when I'm in personal relationship, when I'm in personal time. I'm present. And I was just telling her, and I want to encourage you guys, it's not so much as having a rigid schedule, but it is having the courage and the knowing that you don't have to pick up your phone when you're having time with your family, it can wait. It will be okay. That was empowering to me, and that's why I brought up that story about my granddaughter, because the old me would have said, you know what, let's send her to an after-school program, and I'll get her kind of like after I finish working, you know, and all of that kind of stuff, then I'll go and pick her up. But no, she's a priority, and I'll work after I pick her up. And whatever is gonna just have to wait. So now I'd love for Dawn to come to the front of the room and share with you guys a great strategy for managing your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And great questions brought in.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna do a quick commercial.
Okay.
I'm interjecting, I'm not
It's your
interrupting.
show.
No, it's not, it's yours. But I want to interject because when Dion mentions reading and then she talks about balance and the myth of balance. So by far, the best book on that topic is called Off Balance by Matthew Kelly. And so he says, getting beyond the work-life balance myth to personal and professional satisfaction. He talks about the truth of your priorities and honoring priorities. I'm looking at you, I'm thinking about what you said. And so what we do here is, because we're so in tune with reading and the beauty of knowledge that you can gain. By the way, there's a little exercise that you would work with, a one-page summary. I carry that with me every day to remind myself what those priorities are, how to honor those. And it's not the amount of time you're putting into something that matters, it's what you do with the time that you have when you're engaged, right?
Yes.
And so, if you're interested, it's as simple, just shoot me an email, dale@realtyexecutives.com, and you will receive a copy of this book.
Thank you.
And because
Yes.
you desperately need it right now, you are gonna get
I'm a
Balance.
bad reader,
We-
so
we-
I'm gonna
well,
promise
it's-
to
it's
read
a fun book.
this in the next 30 days.
He does story
Yeah, let
times,
me know.
and
I
so
love
it makes
it.
it fun to read.
Thank you.
Good.
Let me know, Gina.
It's available on Audible too if you're.
I'm going snowmobiling next week, I'm gonna read kind of the farm.
There you go.
Very good. How many of you agree balance is a myth? I mean, it's like walking on a tightrope with that big old bar. But what's the option? You hesitantly get to your goal, or you wipe out on either side. We're not looking for balance, we're looking for harmony. You don't need to excel at your business goals and sacrifice your life. I've driven 9 hours one direction and 9 hours back to attend the funeral of someone I know in real estate. I gotta tell you, the people who were attending, there weren't a whole lot of clients. The people who were attending were family, and people who called that man family because we know each other. And you guys know your clients. I know some of you, you know your clients. And they make your life richer. But your life is more than your client relationships. And there's a harmony to have your client relationships and the joy that brings, and hit your goals in your business so you can do things like keep a roof over your head and heat and take a vacation and the things you want to experience in your life. That's why you hit your business goals, is personal fulfillment as well as what you need financially. Yes? Does this make sense? I told a couple of you today, I'm a second generation agent. There were times that I felt as a kid that my mom valued her work more than she valued me. Now that was not the truth. But some of her actions had me feel that way. Time was a big one, so I'm a huge proponent. We teach this in the Flow Wakeman class. And those of you who've taken the Wakeman class, if you've not done a Smart Week in a while, when would now be a good time to do one, right? And we'll teach you Smart Week a different day. I want to bring a different aspect of your calendar with you. You've got 2 sheets in front of you, ideal month and ideal week. Now, you guys have heard about having an ideal week before, can I get on? Yeah, it's kind of like a unicorn, have you ever seen one in real estate? An ideal week, how do you craft an ideal week, and if you could, how would you live it? How would you live it? Well, it starts by crafting an ideal month. We're not gonna go through the full of this now. But you've got a blank week and you've got a blank month, and I tell you what, don't mark this up right now. Make copies for yourself. On the side, there's a bunch of things to include, but this is just real estate. When you do your ideal month, I want you to include your personal life. I am thrilled that I am still madly in love with the same man I married. That's the cool thing, because we've been hanging out for 37 years. You gotta work to keep that new. And then you don't have to work, it's great. But we have date night. We have time where we're committed to each other. I move my schedule around to make sure I can be with him. And vice versa. Can I get a uh-huh? That's why Dion has this great relationship with her granddaughter, because she's investing. Yesterday I heard a tremendous statement. I invite you to write this one down someplace. Your habits are the silent architect of your destiny. Let it land. Your habits are the silent architect of your destiny. And when you hear this, you know that it's true. You know that it's true, because your habits generate your results, good, bad, or default. It's your habits that generate them. Here's the good news. If you want a different result, change your habits. And you can, but they're habits, so it's not easy. Right? That takes a structure of support. That takes a structure of, well, a structure. Jessica Vanilla took the Rickman course about this time last year. She and I spoke last week. She went from 3 listings last month as her listings out of her 3 listings last year as her part of her production. So there were a bunch of buyers. But in 2024, she moved up to 8 listings. That didn't happen on accident. That happened by being in a structure with support to change things for the better. There were different habits created. So when you guys look at the ideal month, again, I want you to make a list of things that you're going to put for your own personal, your family, your health, your own joy in life. But these are some things you want to know to hit your real estate goals. So on here, how many listing appointments do you need in a month? Now, at least 5 of you are thinking, but Dawn, I don't know when the listing appointments are gonna happen. How would I know when those are gonna happen? How do I calendar them? You make them happen. You make them happen, and part of it is by knowing how many listing appointments you want in a month. And then you create space for them. Because if you've blocked everything in your calendar, but there's no room for the listing appointments, the initial buyer consultations, showings, home inspections, all the other, and closing, you have to have this. So we're gonna do some real simple math. Can everybody agree you all have a different goal for your business this year? Yeah, we're gonna use one example, you're gonna modify the example for yourself. Sound good? Oh, good. I'm gonna go with 18. Let's say you wanna close 18 sides in 2025. Now, some of you are thinking, man, I only need 12 and I'm set. Others are thinking, I want 24. Someone else, 36, 48, 54, more. Fabulous, your goal's right if it's right for you. If you want 18 sides to close and you want 60 to 70% of them to be sellers, why? Oh, because you will have more life and more freedom. Adam's eyebrows just went, Right. You want a better harmony? More sellers. And the sellers, you'll find all the buyers you ever want. Someone else will write on your properties. This will be great, or you will. if you're gonna have 60 to 70% of this be listings, you need at least 12 listings, 12 saleable listings. We all know there's a difference. For those 12 listings, how many appointments do you need over the course of the year to get 12 saleable listings? This is where knowing your stats is key. And on your Ideal Weekly, it will say, track your stats and do your calendar, because if you don't know your stats, this is harder. Can we agree, no one in professional baseball hits 1,000? And they make a big deal when they hit over 300. You don't have to know baseball to understand that means 3 out of every 10 times you go to bat, you get to base. So, some of you are going on listing appointments where it's really just repeat and referral, and this is excellent. This is worth having built up. You want that. But if you're going to expand your business, you have to dive deeper into your sphere and or go for additional means of generating business, right? So if we go on a FSBO listing appointment or a cold call or an expired and they don't know you so well, do you have the same likelihood of getting a signature the first time as you do with a repeat or referral? I love that the heads are going, no, I don't. And therefore, I don't want to do them. But if you want to build your business, you're going to do more. So let's say the ratio, because some are going to be ones where it's hot and some are going to be ones where it's cold. Let's say 50% of the time you get a signature, you get a listing. And when your numbers are bigger than this, hooray, this is for simple math. So you need 24 listing appointments for the year to get this for actual listings. That means you need 2 listing appointments a month. In real estate, is January as explosive as March?
No.
Is July the same as November? So we're gonna use an average, but we know that that oscillates. The thing is, if you're aiming for 18 closings and 12 or more be on the listing side, then you need at least 2 listing appointments each month. When you know you need 2 listing appointments each month, then you can look at your ideal lead and make space for them. So please stand up if you will give yourself 15 minutes at a different time to figure this part out. The benefit of groupthink. And we all just wanted to stretch, didn't we? All right, go ahead and have a seat. And congratulations, because you're setting yourself up for success. It is these decisions, the decisions as to what you pour in your cup. You simply ask the ask garbage out, right? This is the goal. The decisions as to what you do in time. And the decisions as to the practices you have for generating and expanding your momentum. And this is where I get to see if my colleague is feeling okay in her voice. Or do you want me to keep going? Here I go. Okay. Oh, goodness, bear with me.
Guys, so I was listening to Dawn. She was talking about our ideal week, ideal month, right? So how many of you know that all of those months are gonna be ideal, right? So what do you do when you have that scenario? What do you do? I was thinking about, as I was thinking about momentum and thinking about, what do I do to get back going? What did I do? And I kind of started with 2024. The end of the year, because some things have changed, and I was looking at my business and I wasn't quite in the growth mode that I wanted to be, right? And I'm like, man, what do I do? I was talking to Dana. She says, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And my normal answer is typically, I'm gonna go back to the basics. I'm gonna go back to the basics because that's what works, right? But for this session today, I dove a little bit deeper, and I kind of crafted it. So I want to kind of take you on a journey. So in 2008, when the market crashed,
Again.
again, that was a tough time, right? And you would think, if you knew me, you would think that was probably the toughest time. Being in the business 24 years when that happened, it was catastrophic if you were in that time frame, right? You would think that would be the toughest time. So I thought, like, what did I do? What did I do? And so I kind of, what did I do to keep moving? So I went over and I said, okay. So I wrote down some things. And then I said, okay, so what happened in the pandemic? What was different? What did I do? I'm still here. I'm still doing okay. What did I do? So I wrote down those things, and I began to see some similarities, right? I'm like, okay. But then, in 2024, this time, I said, what am I gonna do? And I wrote down, and it was the same thing. And I said, this is what I do. I call it my momentum framework. I get back to the basics. And as I said, for this year, I'm gonna be very intentional about the growth of my business. And in order to do that, I came up with a strategy. And I really wanted to identify what I was doing. So when I get those ebbs and flows, or if I got off my square, if something happened, whatever, I would have a framework to go right back to and get right back on track really quickly. So what I noticed was consistency. And that goes in with what Dawn was saying about tracking your numbers, right? Whenever I get into a slump or something, I say, you know what? I have to create a daily method of operation. I have to create a win the day, win the week, win the month, right? And I have to be fearlessly focused, and I'm tracking my numbers. I know when I'm starting, I know when I'm stopping. I know what gives me that indicator that the day is won because it's all documented. I don't have to think about what I'm going to do. I have it all documented. I'm very, very consistent and very, very focused during that time. Also, visibility. So I know that if I want to grow my business, that the law of attraction matters, right? It's important. So what do I begin to do? Open houses, getting out there, getting into activity, having conversations, having one-on-ones, talking more and more about the business, getting on Facebook, posting more, on live. Because as much as we think and make the assumption, like I feel like everybody knows I'm in real estate. I used to tell people I clean houses. What are you talking about? Like, I'm in real estate. But when you go ghost, especially with social media, right? You hear a lot of people take a fast. Like, they'll fast from, not chocolates anymore, but we're gonna fast for 30 days off of social media. Well, in this era, you close your business for 30 days. When people don't see you, they don't think you're doing anything, right? So I get very, very active, doing home buyer seminars, all the stuff that we do, right? And then I lean into leverage. I leverage tools and systems. I'm very, very consistent when I'm doing that. My relationships are super important. I talk more to my accountability partner, right? If I'm in a slump, I'm calling Dale more. I'm calling Mary, I'm calling Dana, Melissa. I'm calling them, talking to Dawn. Why? Because I need that energy. I need that energy, right? Again, not being on that island all by yourself. And I do this very, very consistently. So that's my framework. So whenever I get into a challenge, I go back, that's my basics, right? That's my foundation. But once I'm doing that and I'm in the rhythm, and I decide I'm looking at my monthly, I'm like, wait a minute, I need my listings. I have my year. I'm looking at that, I'm like, okay, I'm this far away. I need listings, I need to do this, I need to do that. You know what I do? I simply do more of what I know works. You guys heard of Grant Cardone, right? 10X. Just 10X. Don't recreate the wheel. Really take a look and reflect on yourself. What are you really, really good at? And go hard. If you're on social media and you were tracking your numbers, that's why it's so important to track your activity, track your numbers. If you're on social media and you knew that you were posting, 5 times a week, and you were getting referrals, and everybody was talking to you about real estate, and you felt like you were really in the game, then post 10 times, right? Don't go start to do something new. Go back to what you know works and what brought you that business that you were looking for. That's so very, very important, right? So leaning into the basics and just leaning into what you know works. So now, and I'm so grateful because I've had this coffee spell, I'm kind of worn out, right? So now, Dawn is gonna come back up, guys, and she's gonna give you an opportunity to brainstorm on some strategies, some things that you can do right now and put into your business. If you don't need them right now, that's fine. But what you're doing is building your toolkit, right? I'm gonna encourage you to go look at the toolkit that you currently have. You have so many tools available to us, but we do not use them. And this is not a commercial for REI. They didn't tell me to do it, but the training for Bold Trails, right? Make sure you take advantage of it, leverage it, because whether we like it or not, a lot of our business, a lot of things that we do and how people are being communicated to is going to be through a system like that, right? I believe we have 2 worlds that we're going to be dealing with. That world that's very technologically advanced and they like being communicated like that, but then we're going to have the other ones where they really want us to be more personal, being able to listen effectively and be in person with them. So we're going to have to figure out how to do both. I was talking to Haley, and then I'll yield the floor. I was talking to Haley about marketing, and we were talking about online versus offline, mailers, and we were just kind of, she was like, yeah, but some of my people, they really like to open the mail for me. And then I was like, yeah, that's right. And I think about my heart for the community or the target market I want to serve. They're not looking for me on the internet. They're not looking for me on Facebook. But they will call me if they get a postcard or if they get a letter, because they think that makes me real to them, if that makes sense, right? So just having that duality and just being open to doing that. Our business, guys, has changed. It's amazing. It's amazing. What I love most about it is we can be individuals in our business, and we can run our business right here at this brokerage how we want to run it, as long as we're being lawful. But your business can really be whatever you want to imagine. I'm real big about designing your life. So designing your business how you want it to look. This is I've never seen a time in real estate where we really, really, really could do that. Anyone who comes into the business. So now I yield the floor to Dawn so she can get you guys engaged inside of this amazing exercise.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What is a secret agent in real estate? Someone with no closings and a license. Vicky's laughing because she knows. Not from her own experience, but from having seen how many fail out of the business. Every one of you likely knows someone who, if you gave them the gift of a seller or a buyer, would do everything to help them, and they'd be awesome. But their own business is struggling because they do not take the steps to create connection. Please write down connection equals currency. Isn't it fascinating that we use the word currency to mean movement of electricity, and we use it to mean money? They're the same. Money is simply a measure of your connection, of your currency, of your electricity. Deanne spoke beautifully about consistency, visibility, and leverage. And she said 10x, double up, expand what's working. Do you guys know something that's working in your business? If you're not real sure, or you want to double check so you're not just PFA, plucking it from air. Look at your business. Look at your closings from last year. Did they come because you met them in an open house? Did they come because they were referred? Are they Did they come because you held a virus seminar? Did they come from social media? If you don't know where your people came from, it's really hard to double down on what works, right? This is more about tracking. And in addition to expanding what's already working for you, can we agree there's a few things that would be good for you to do that you just haven't been doing yet? There's a list. You don't need to do them all. As Deanne said, and I reinforced, start with one and expand it. So what we're gonna do now, and this works out beautifully, because this is a group, and this is a group, and that's a group, and that's a group. You all have a group at your table, and Dana's gonna come play with some group.
I'm just eyeing my group right now.
We're going to do, I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do. You're not gonna start yet, and then we're gonna do it. So here's the end result. We're gonna come up with a great list of, I could do this to expand my business this year. And the pulse behind it is increase your connection, right? I could do more open houses. I could double up the amount of social media. You guys are gonna come up with ideas. When we start you in your group, the person with the shortest or least amount of hair from here up is the one who goes first. And then everybody goes around clockwise.
It's like I knew I should have cut my hair.
Everyone is going clockwise. Alright. So, the person with the shortest hair starts, and then you're gonna go around clockwise. And once you've gone around once, we're gonna keep going around. We're gonna do this for about 2 minutes. So this is like a game show, rapid fire. Don't overthink. Don't worry about if it was smart. Please pay attention at this moment.
Because the short hair.
Do we write it on the blue?
Write it on the blue. I encourage you each to write your own notes, because what are you gonna take home? Your notes. Hey, Jessica, come on in, have a seat right here, we'll get you all set. When we're done with the 2 minutes or so, we're going to then have you, as a group, choose your top 3 best ideas. And the person with the longest hair at the table will be asked to be the spokesperson.
Oh, no.
Okay, so all of a sudden, first doesn't sound good.
I just got it.
All right, so we're gonna start the timer. Shortest hair goes first, and the question everyone is answering is, what's one activity I can do to increase my connection, to reach my goal, more currency? All right, go right ahead. She's ready.
Okay, I put on mine that I was going to look at every closing from last year and find out where they came from.
Especially at a level of.
So that I can then refocus my attention this year on what works. I put iron also, I can be consistent with prospecting.
I'm challenging myself. Good.
That's when you set to a schedule, making a schedule and not getting things done, you're sort of it happens. So to that point, I was thinking about time blocking specific things. Like I'm working on a project right now with those postcards where I'm calling, but I'm calling all the A's, I'm calling all the B's. And I did it on days, so it doesn't take a whole day. Because otherwise I get burnt out. Yeah.
What are the things I do?
30 seconds more.
And so my day's over, I just check my business.
Yeah.
Yeah, record content, post on social media, hand out business cards.
Yeah, I like the one that you feel like check those boxes.
That is so true. All right. Oh, it's 11:11. It's silently. There we go. All done. So, quick 30 seconds. In your group, what are your top 3 ideas? What are your top 3
Someone's
ideas?
gonna get singled out here.
Make a circle or mark. Decide as a group. For social media, 3 best ones, right? Ones that goes to the table.
Yeah, there we go. No one's canceled.
We gotta calls across lines.
Just keep it in your phone. Make it social media. They're not really.
10 seconds. Okay. After you easy, you just pick.
Good job by the time.
Swing your hair, girl, swing your hair.
I gotta come to this. This is kind of watching my thing career
All
right
right, here we go. Please come back to the group. Please come back. All right, so we're gonna go around, and at each table, you're gonna give your top 3. We've got people jotting them down, so there will be a master list. But I invite you to listen for yourselves, because you've got your own ideas, but then you expanded your reach by collaborating with partners. Now you're expanding your reach further, and you might hear something from someone else where you go, that's my point of difference this year. You're going to listen for one thing. Each of you will make your own decision. This is gonna go on the back of your goal card, because it's going to be the tool you're going to come back to reach your goal. Yes? All right, so, who's speaking here? Speak loud and proud, stand up.
Okay, so the 3 that we decided that we thought was our favorite is, one would just be more Popeyes, so just more touches in person, gifts to our clients. We came up with more phone calls, so just getting connected, getting updated, and just being able to ask for referrals. And then instead of just sold postcards out to the surrounding 100 houses, we decided to do just sold postcards to our sphere, so just another touch point for our clients.
Yes. Fantastic. And who's presenting here? Gonna flip your hair. Go ahead.
We talked about phone calls to past clients and being more consistent about those. We also had, looking at last year's closings and finding out where that referral came from or what worked to get that lead for you. And then time blocking with money-making ideas in mind. So time blocking for those phone calls so that it didn't seem overwhelming on a daily basis. Time blocking for your social media, so with intention.
Great. And over here, who's presenting? You've got the one.
Okay, so we have handout business cards, record and post on social media once a week, and about 15, 20 minutes every morning just to prioritize our day.
Awesome. Can you say what the first one was?
Handout business cards.
And Diana's here.
All right, so we said more client visits, those being lunch, coffee dates, play dates, or just like house check-ins. A lot of our clients like it when we come on in and they do updates, so making those touch points. Then we also did, it's basically bringing value each month of some sort of value. So for example, we've kind of implemented in 2025, we're gonna be doing a client event. We're doing a quarterly newsletter. We thought of updating our contractor list, so if a client reaches out, that we have, people that we're connected with that can then also, maybe bring business back to us. And we also did more just client follow-up, so the calls, the emails, the texts, the just, in general touch points, which a lot of people have hit on.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. What do we have over here? Who's talking for the table of 5?
So we got appreciation event. becoming an expert in one area like condos, and then Popeyes at 3 businesses.
Popeye's a business, that's a nice point of difference. And for the long-haired bunch here.
That was a hard one.
We know where to start or finish, so, we have one going to like a, out-of-state gastronome to build like a referral network. That's pretty nice to make some money without you having to deal with the buyer and everything else, so that's nice. Having a designated call block, and a purposeful call block, and then, just making sure, we have a good CRM of our past clients, so we're not having more touches.
Yes. Nobody needs to raise their hand, but knowingly ask yourself, is this the year that you finally get control with your CRM?
I don't think so.
If you're not using the Bold Trail CRM and you don't have one, that's one that's provided to you and it's pretty dang robust. I mean, you can use the Volkswagen version or you can use the Cadillac version.
What I'm hearing is there's also people who would know and be able to help you get started, but it's yours to do. So, what did this table come up with?
So we,
You guys went all 8? I thought there'd be 2 here. Okay, what'd you get?
More consistency in social media that range from doing videos to getting started and also being very consistent just on a weekly basis. Also doing more opens, and then the last one was touches to past clients, making sure that we are touching base with our past clients and keeping that relationship together.
Great. So did we hear some repetition?
Yeah.
There's wisdom in that, pay attention. Did you hear some things that were spoken to just a couple of degrees of difference? Notice that, there's wisdom in that. But here's your big wisdom. Claim yours. Claim one that you will commit to do and put it on the back side of your vision card. So right now, your vision card has your business goal on one side, and the back side, an action you're committed to taking that will help you reach it. You can fill up the rest of the card with other things for your vision outside of business. Today, we're focused on that.
Good. That was so good, you guys. That was so good. Social media, social media. I did just want to let you guys know that we do have an amazing space where you can do videos and record. It's really, really awesome. And then you can get the cute little microphone from marketing. Check it out. Of course, bring it back. But it's really nice. So that's another tool that we have here at the office that we can use in our company, right? So you guys have your vision card, right, to help you stay focused throughout the year. I encourage you to take it with you. And then also on the other side, you have some strategies, right? When you start thinking about, man, what am I gonna do? Or what else do I need to do? Or what did I commit to for 2025, right? You have that written on the other side, which is so awesome. And guys, I use this word now. I used to set goals all the time, right? I found that the way that my value system is set up, the word commitment is more impactful for me. My word is my bond, right? So if I commit to something, I'm going to do it. So I have both. I have some things that are goals. They're still very, very important to me. So some of those things that are kind of like non-negotiables on my list, I have them categorized as commitments that I want to do. And that's just something I wanted to share with you guys. But now you have, in order to maintain momentum, you have, my little framework of leverage, visibility, and consistency, right? So before I leave, first off, I want to just thank you guys so much for your attention today. This was such a blast. I really enjoyed it. I do have a question for you. Dr. John C. Maxwell, his dad asked him this question when he was talking about getting started on something. He wanted to move and get some things done. He said, there are 4 frogs on a log, right? No, 5 frogs, I'm sorry, 5 frogs on a log. 4 of them jump off. How many frogs do you have?
5.
5?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, why do you say 5?
Because it doesn't matter if they're on the log or off, still a 5.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay.
But a lot of people said 4. Did anybody think 4? Did anyone think 4? Okay, so you're not gonna tell me, but okay. His dad told him, he says no, that he said 4. His answer, John C. Maxwell's answer, was 4. And his dad told him, no, it's not 4. It's still, you have 5, but 4 decided to get going and get moving, to get stuff done. The other one is just sitting on the log. Just sitting on the log, wasted away, right? So when you want to get stuff going, he says, get with the pack that's moving. Get with the pack that's moving. So thank you guys so much for your time today. I appreciate it.
As we wrap, this could either have been just really nice entertainment and time with people you like, or this can be something that actually is part of you creating what you aim for. Right? No more losing track of it partway through the year, no more tremendous disappointment, or the, I exceeded my goals, but I have no idea how it happened, which is just as dangerous. Right? This is your time to decide. It is your decisions that you consistently make that determine your experience of life. Your decisions create your habits, your structures support that. So I'm asking you now, what are you committed to in 2025? And I'd like to celebrate in advance your good year ahead. This is a powerful piece written by Russell Kemp. Wonderful, wonderful, fortunate you. This is the year your dreams come true. This is the year that your ships come in. This is the year you find Christ within. This is the year you are glad to live. This is the year you have much to give. This is the year when you know the truth. This is the year when you find new youth. This is the year that brings happiness. This is the year you will live to bless. Wonderful, wonderful, fortunate you. This is the year your dreams come true. You have everything. Thank you. You have everything you need. We're good.
So. Yes, I know. Do you want to add to that? Tori's bringing lunch. It will be here within 5 minutes. And so, a couple things we can do prior to that time. Ready?